Hi, everyone. Welcome to PA Podcast episode. What are we, Brandon? Five? No, five, six. We're episode six. Welcome to episode six of PA Podcast. I have very, very special guests here today. I've got the MANMADE crew. Please, guys, introduce yourselves.
Go for it, Anthony.
All right. So personally, I guess, yeah.
Yes, I wanted, the people need to know who you are personally.
Perfect. My name is Anthony. I'm one of the co-founders of MANMADE. Personally, I'm married to my wife of 4 years. I have two beautiful twins, 3 months old, Leo Luciano and Giordano Luciano. I'm also a father of a baby angel, Luciano.
Yeah.
And I started MANMADE with my best friends. What is it? 3 years ago? 3.5 years ago? 3.5 years ago. And it's been a world of fun, an amazing journey, and I'm happy to be here today.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here. Please introduce yourself. Go for it.
My name's Robert. I'm one of the co-founders. We're four best friends, known each other since 5. Like Anthony said, we started up MANMADE, men's essentials brand. Married, 2 girls, and just enjoying the journey.
Great. All right. Well, if anybody didn't know, I'm Puri Ansari. I'm a realtor of close to 15 years, over 15 years now, I think. I've got 2 boys. I'm married, happily married. And you know what? We are navigating this world of real estate, business, family, trying to balance it all. And, this podcast actually came about as a complementary factor, rather, to my business so that we can expand and learn from each other. And big businesses such as yours, are an important facet to things that can be complemented in any business. And we actually had a discussion. We actually had like a semi-podcast a couple of years ago on an Instagram live. This is pre-COVID now. What was it, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yeah, at least.
Right?
At least.
Yeah.
Even 6,
And this is before you guys were MANMADE.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is before you guys were MANMADE. If I'm not mistaken, you were in the payment processing business, something like that.
Yep.
And it was still the same 4 guys, right? Now explain to me, because that's kind of what I'm fascinated by, and I'm sure a lot of other people. What is it, and what shifted from going from payment processing to making the best, from what I understand, fabric for boxer briefs for men, which is, I've done my research, modal fabric, which I'm sure you guys are going to explain a bit more about, but what created that shift?
You want to take it?
Go for it.
Yeah. So I think it was 5 years ago or 6 years ago, we left the finance world, all in banking, who was in accounting, who was actually 3 bankers and an accountant. Bertle's the accountant. And we left that world because I was introduced when I was at the bank to someone who was in the payments world. And he was dealing with a lot of e-commerce companies, and I was extremely fascinated by this. Went to go work for him. Long story short, he grew from a one-man show to an empire. Right. So now, instead of being closer to the executives, we were becoming the bank again.
Right.
So we decided, because we had a good relationship with this individual, Payfacto is the company. It's a Montreal-based company. Marty LaRue, Sharif Khalil, they're one of the execs there.
Okay.
And really, really fascinating company. We got exposed to a lot of e-com and, like I said, payment processing in the fintech world, right? Big buzzwords a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And we decided that we would branch out on our own and complement their business by being brokers. So basically, we would help online e-commerce brands get merchant accounts.
I see.
Okay. So we started that. And then when COVID hit, and that's when we did the podcast. Similar to you, we wanted to reach out to other entrepreneurs because we were in business. We had just got into this murky waters, told our wives, we're going to do this thing, which is called entrepreneurship, start this business, yada, yada, yada. And we were really embraced in the whole environment. So we did the podcast together.
Yeah.
And right before COVID, we were building a book, but we had a deeper passion.
Right.
The entrepreneurial itch wasn't quite scratched yet.
Right.
So we decided, you know what? When's a better time than during COVID to buckle down and let's build something of enterprise value, a brand that we always wanted to build.
Right.
And so we decided that because we weren't fully fulfilled at that point. And that's what we did. So the amount of Zoom calls, the amount of meeting up when maybe we shouldn't have, just to really like when everyone else was consumed by what was going on in the media, we kind of like obviously stayed informed, but buckled down and dialed in, and that's pretty much when the foundation of MANMADE was built.
And I would add that it all started with a problem, right?
Yeah.
Everything from like the constant adjusting to the riding up to the swamp ass. Sorry for saying that.
Yeah.
But just when you're always adjusting, you don't feel comfortable and it bothers you throughout the day, right? And as we were discussing this, just a regular boys discussion.
Yeah.
We realized that one of us four, I won't say who, was even going commando because he was so like annoyed of it. And then I'll speak for myself, is like I didn't know what was out there, what was even better, right? I was just wearing the same old cotton underwear I was always wearing.
Yeah.
I think I would buy them like 3 for $20, whatever the case was.
Yeah.
It was like an afterthought,
Like
right?
Costco or something.
And I just thought I would have to always adjust. That was my faith in life, right? That's what it was.
Didn't you used to adjust like when you used to have meetings?
Yeah,
with
I
boys,
literally,
take off your pants,
So,
like unbuckle them, adjust
at the
themselves?
bank, I would literally like in the corner go down, like slightly pull down my pants so I can adjust my
So
underwear.
there's no more adjusting.
And then I would have my friend like tell me, "What the hell are you doing?" I'm like, man, this is terrible. But anyways, after that discussion, we came to the realization, let's figure out a better way.
Yeah.
So let's do two things. One, let's figure out the best fabric that's similar to cotton, but it won't stretch out at the end of the day. That's breathable. We found it's called Modal, sourced on the beech tree. And the second thing is let's market it properly. Let's bring it in front of people in a way that it's relatable.
Right.
No chiseled models and say, oh, buy our boxer briefs because look how good they look. No, let's focus on function. Let's make sure you're comfortable.
100%.
That's it. And we launched in August of 2021, right? Officially, we thought we were going to be able to create a boxer brief in 2 months and just go from there.
Took a year.
But man, if we would have known the journey that it takes to create that, we probably would have never done it.
Is that right? So it took a year. It took a year to do that.
In R&D.
And I like, boxer briefs or any other products. I think that's the thing. Everyone has this idea. And then once you start on that journey, you realize things are a lot more complicated. Now you're discussing marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Marketing is an important facet in any business. I think nothing is truer than that, even in real estate, right? But to your point, you have to have a quality product to be able to have an effective marketing, because marketing can work one-hit wonders. We've seen so many of them, but I see that your products have been kind of taking on a whole other level and a whole tool. And I've been looking at the reviews. I mean, people are really happy with them. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be privileged to try them out now, right? And I'm gonna definitely let you guys know how it is afterwards. But I've been wanting to get them. Just time has never allowed for it. And you know what? What better time than now? Now that you guys, thank you for privileging me with this gift too. So I know that you guys do a couple of products as well. Yeah. But again, going back to what quality it is that you bring in, I think that's an appreciation I have in any business too. Is that the quality should surpass everything, and then the marketing needs to complement that.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And I think that you guys have done such a great job at achieving that. I can tell just through the reviews and how people are kind of giving feedback through that. And is it now become, I guess it started maybe in one area. Has it become an international type of affair in terms of, is this available everywhere right now or online?
So at first it was Canada,
and
now we've entered in the U.S. markets. We're giving a huge push here in Quebec. So we'll have a fully functional French website. We're doing content in French. We're really putting a lot of energy into that. At first it was difficult. You don't have many resources, right? So you need to be able to hyper focus. We're very big on hyper focusing on something, and making sure you get it done. Once we had proof of concept, we gained a bit of capital, a bit of momentum, market fit. And we said, okay, this works. And we realized, okay, let's start focusing on here at home in the province of Quebec and in the US market. But internationally, no, we haven't entered it yet for many reasons, logistics, just many reasons. So we're going to focus on growing our Canadian division. Our
you have 4 Italian founders. Should this not be in Europe somewhere?
Yeah, for sure. It comes with a lot of challenges. People think, you do an online company, you can target anybody in the world. Yeah, you can. However, we did do a little bit of like test in the beginning stages with TikTok, especially. Got a lot of people out of Europe, and we realized just to ship it to them costs probably double their order. So
I
whatever,
see.
so you can't make the economics work unless you have distribution in those countries, because we buy all our inventory. It's not drop shipped, right?
And so, how did you start in terms of financing this, right? Like, was it out of your own pockets? Did you leverage it? What was the consequence of that personally? Because, there are sacrifices that we need to make in any business, right? And leverage obviously is one thing, but the sacrifice also exists for our families. I mean, we're all family people, right? So I think we understand that in the sense that, you're trying to bring in the money, but you're trying to, feed your family, feed your kids, make sure they have their proper education and everything is kind of set. I feel like this is one of the bigger challenges people actually face is, well, if I do this, I'm kind of taking a huge risk on my family. And I feel one of the big things that stops a lot of people oftentimes is that. What was it like for you guys?
Yeah, so I think it all comes down to sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people don't want to take a step back in life.
Yeah.
If you have a certain car, you don't want to go back. If you have two cars, you don't want to only have one. If you have a house, you don't want to go into an apartment, right? But what we did is we said we were 30, right? So
Right.
we already worked 10 years at the bank. We already had RSPs. We had some savings. And we did two things. We stepped back on our lifestyle, went to go move in an apartment, cut the expenses as much as possible,
Right.
and started withdrawing from our RSPs, literally.
Okay.
Because the actual investment in the business was just inventory, right? But what we had to invest in was our lifestyle and our month-to-month payments. So we were withdrawing from RSPs and trying to make it work. And we said, worst case, if we drain everything and we got nothing left, we'll go back to the bank and we'll start over. We're 30 years old.
Yes.
We still got another 35 years, like we'll make it back. But if it does work out, we're going to be able to build a business, help people, and have fun doing it with best friends, right? Like,
Yes.
which is unheard of. And then it's something that when you're 70 years old or 75 years old and you look back and you're like, we tried it, we either didn't accomplish it or we did,
Yeah.
and we won't have any regrets.
And you know what? There is a saying, I forget who it is that said this, but you never regret what you try.
Yeah.
You regret the things you don't try.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like as entrepreneurs too, I guess that fire of entrepreneurship always existed in you guys, right? Like even before, because you had a business before that too. And there are things in life that we always try to do, that we try to really make the best out of. And to your point, sometimes it is those sacrifices that are difficult to make. And people kind of see the company and the business afterwards, and they're like, "Oh, well, this looks like a simple idea." Oftentimes, people actually believe this,
Yeah.
and they don't actually see the blood and sweat that goes into it. They don't see the 1 year it took you just to design it, and now you guys have multiple products. It's not just boxer briefs, too,
No.
right? You have, I think, socks. What else is there that you guys offer?
Socks, underwear. So underwear, socks, t-shirt.
Yeah,
We had a soap bar, and we were
a soap bar.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and we're designing a swim trunk
Okay.
and pants, comfortable pants,
Okay.
everyday jogger pants.
And I'd say like the interesting thing of all this is when we launched, and even now today, it's just a boxer brief in black.
Okay.
Right? So we say like, oh, it's very simple. Now it gets even more simpler.
Yeah.
And people were telling us like in the industry, oh, you can't just sell black underwear. But when you're going into an industry that you're not familiar with, you need to dumb it down as much as possible. And that's what helped us, because a lot of people will fail because they try to overcomplicate it. Hundreds of SKUs, all kinds of geographic locations that they're trying to hit up by themselves. We went super simple. Keep it simple, stupid, right? Like that's our motto is just black boxer briefs. And we scaled it to a level where we have 200,000 customers.
Wow.
Still just with black boxer briefs.
But
And we came out with blue,
not too long ago.
July?
Yeah, in July.
right?
It goes hand in hand with the mission statement of the brand.
Yeah.
Right. Provide men with quality essentials they need without the BS they don't.
Right.
And the BS is literally the prints, the colors, the jazz, the bells and whistles. When you have it just a black boxer brief, so much attention's on the stitch, type of fabric, the waistband, the pouch, the open fly, the no seams at the rear, the fabric choice. Like modal is modal, but there's different types of modal.
Yeah.
We go for the best one, right? Look for the best one. And when you do that and you're efficient, as you know in business, well, guess what? There's savings because it's not only being savings for there's less warehousing. It's more efficient to pick and pack the order, and someone who's working in the picking packing department, which we do everything internally, doesn't have to go 10 rows down to go get the pizza print. Everything's in arm's reach, right? And like you get savings from the manufacturer, and then you pass that on to your customer. Yeah. Right? Because a Modal boxer brief like ours, our competitors are charging $35, $40 a pair.
Right.
We're charging 24 and 22 if you get a 7-pack. Why? Nice. Because we don't have to invest in all the patterns and the prints.
And that makes a big difference. And it's super interesting too. What you're saying is true. It's, you have to simplify things. I feel like oftentimes what people do is, to your point, they try to like offer everything to everyone. But if you're offering everything, the quality will also adjust accordingly.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Are you a foodie?
I am a foodie.
You're in real estate, you probably in restaurants a lot?
Yes.
Okay. Do you like going into a restaurant where the menu is 17 pages? Or do you like going into a restaurant where the menu is 4 things?
Yeah. Honestly, I like going into the restaurant where the menu is 4 things.
100% of the time, the restaurant...
It's information overload.
Yeah.
Not only that, you know that the chef in the back, he specializes in in this cuisine, and he's the best. Because it's fresh, things are being picked. Like, it's a different experience.
It is a different experience.
And it transcends into our brand. You go on our website, it's easy to use. It's not confusing. There's no discount codes, promo codes that if you buy today, tomorrow you get a discount, and like, fuck, I got screwed.
Yeah.
You don't get that with us. It's no bullshit.
And that's a great point you bring too, because I hate it when there's all of these like, get yours before it's too late type of thing.
Yeah.
And then every day now you're getting, now we have a discount for you. Now we have this, now we have that. And people see, and I discuss this in every single podcast, people see through bullshit.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And if your brand, I think the culture of your brand is important.
Yeah.
What the brand represents is important. The product is important, definitely. But I think also what's behind it, the mindset and the culture of the company is just as important, because if you're only about the profits, then the quality will go down.
For sure.
If you're only about marketing, you're going to be a one-hit wonder. You need to find the perfect balance. And I think that the intention behind what you're doing is important too. I mean, you had a goal. You wanted to be a contributing factor, let's say, for comfort for men.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like obviously you guys have succeeded if you have 200,000 customers right now, and I'm sure that it's just growing every day.
Yeah. And better than that, like 55% of them come back within a year. We're very close ear to the ground with our customers. Very close, right?
Yeah.
So we're present. We're present. We're the face of the brand, right? So like we're not hiding behind something. We're there.
And I gotta say, your market, guys, your ads are so good.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Like the ads are so good. They make me laugh every time. I mean, whether it's you guys doing it, and I've seen Maggie Frida's doing them with you guys too, and it's just like the dynamic. It really is engaging, and you can see that you're not just another company, right? You care. There is a culture behind what you're doing, and I think that's going to be a testament to your success as well. Now, tell me, you guys are 4 guys, so do you guys ever have any internal kind of like?
That's like $1 million question. Everyone asks that, right? Every podcast we've done.
Doesn't that happen? Yeah. You're 4 guys, 4 Italians, right? Right. Not to say anything. Yeah. Persians are the same way, right? We are very opinionated, right? So I'm trying to understand. I mean, who does what over there? What happens when you guys go into a conflict? Because I think everyone knows like there's going to be differences, not necessarily in a bad way. But then how do you guys kind of like come to an agreement on that? Is it a democracy or is it?
Go for it. You're on a roll, man. Go for it.
You have best friends?
I do.
Okay. When there's a disagreement with your best friend, you've had those?
Yeah, shit goes down.
Yeah. Do you fix them?
We fix them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's that, but a little different when you have a business, because now the business is the baby. So like we see it as husband and wife.
Yeah.
So we're married to each other.
Right.
Right. So the baby needs to be cherished, taken care of. We know already what schools it's going to. Everything is planned out, right? So there's no disagreement. There's a North Star.
Yeah.
So first things first, that has to be out of the way.
Right.
People need to know what they're doing, what you're here for, what needs to get done, and who's doing what.
Right.
So every year, at the beginning of the year, we do an offsite and we plan that out. And then June, we do it again and we revisit and see how we're going to adjust things going forward. When there are disagreements, obviously,
The odd time there is a disagreement.
I would say like they don't happen every day,
Yeah.
but they happen because there's a lot of passion and emotion, and there's a lot of care for what we do.
Yes.
However, the dynamic is that it's always for the best of the baby. And if there's a disagreement, there needs to be like proof behind it, and that's usually through data. It's no like, oh, I feel like what you feel doesn't really matter. You know, like it matters, but it
Of
doesn't
course.
really matter in the sense where if we're going to make a move left or right, there needs to be data backing it up.
Yes.
Right? So that's the first thing. The second thing, the dynamic is that we complement each other very well.
Right.
So you have Robert on the media side. He's doing the media buying. He's doing a lot of the marketing, working closely with Matt these days. He handles all that. You have Berto with the finances. He's the tech, right? So we have a software engineer internally that we've always had. You have Phil in operations. You have Phil is taking care of product as well in companionship with Rob. He's involved in that as well. And then you have myself in customer experience, customer service, PR. Relationships and all that.
You're the relationships guy.
Yeah. But we all are.
Yeah.
We're all, but it's just natural, I guess.
Obviously,
And Rob too. Like we're lethal together in the sense where like we're a good team, right? When we do the sales thing and we have to do things like this, for example.
Absolutely.
But the point is we find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
And it's very fulfilling. So like in a marriage.
Yeah.
There will be disagreements, but as long as you do the best for the unit, well,
Yeah.
then everything will go forward, and there will be no regrets and no sour taste in our mouth.
And I'll add, like a lot of people might be a bit hesitant to go in with 4 partners, right? Like when we started, everyone was like, "Oh, but they're dividing everything by 4, right? Like,
Yeah.
what's left?" You know,
Yeah.
like we got a lot of that, but we're 4 like super focused guys that complement each other so well, and we're able to grow 4 times faster.
Yeah.
Like the amount of
100%.
growth that we've had and that we will have, we would never be able to do it alone. And it'll be very hard for someone to replicate it because it's very rare to get 4 people as focused and as complementary as us. It's extremely tough.
I'm sure.
No one can
And-
stop
But
us.
just to add to that, because it's a really it's something that always comes up,
Yeah.
and we like there's no ego.
No.
Right, so
No.
like we have families, like we want to succeed, we want to do good for the customer, we want to. There's no ego, like you need to look past that. It's that's BS.
We're
right?
we're all the same.
Yeah, like
Literally, we wear the
what-
same stuff.
Yeah,
We drive the same cars.
Yeah.
We're all the same.
Yeah.
We're all the same. You know, like there's
Same underwear.
same. Like, everything's the same. Sometimes we come in dressed, wearing the exact same
like,
thing.
oh,
You
your
know,
wife-
you got it over here.
because our wives are friends, right? So
finish each
sometimes they go
other's
shopping
sentences,
together. I
yeah.
don't know, so things happen, and we just
Well, look, it ends up being like a family, right?
Exactly.
And I think that if you have that synergy, obviously, it makes a huge difference. 2 heads is better than 1 at the end of the day. 4 heads is better than 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe that's one of my big challenges in real estate, right? Like, is that I've been doing it for a long time, as you know. I've been in real estate for over 15 years, and for me, I've been always about the quality of my work, what I'm bringing into the table for my clients, and it's been at the forefront of everything I do.
Yeah.
I want really the best. If I'm negotiating for a buyer, I want the best price for them, and the best conditions for what's theirs, right? And if I have a seller, well, it's the same thing on the flip end. You're trying to get the best price for your client with the best conditions and all these things. And for me, at the forefront of everything has always been what is good for them before it is for me. When I train brokers, I tell them that the commission, consider it doesn't exist. Consider that you're making a flat revenue, a flat income of X amount every year, no matter what you're doing. When you're guiding somebody, if you're guiding a client, you're going to guide them on the pretense that nothing will change in your life if this sells or not.
Mm-hmm.
But the information you're giving has to be valuable to that person, right?
said.
In much the same way, you guys are able to bring that quality over. My challenge has been scaling because, over the years, I've had I've been able to delegate more and kind of let go of that control. But that's been one of my bigger challenges that I'm still working on, to let go of some control, to give some control over to somebody else in order to be able to scale a bit more. But for me, the important thing has always been not to allow the quality to get impacted by that, right? And so if you guys are four people, I guess, and four friends from a long time ago, then you guys kind of know each other's processes. I guess
Yeah.
it's a bit different than somebody who's coming in now. But you do have 16 employees now. So how is it, how are you able to transfer this mindset over to them?
I think it all comes down with structure, right? It's all about structure from the mornings when everyone comes in at 9 a.m. We have a morning call, we call it, where we all get around the table and we all do 1 minute maximum of what we're going to be doing so everybody hears. So if it's affecting someone else, we can regulate it right away. That way, there's no stepping on toes and everybody knows which direction they're going. And that's on the micro. And then on the macro, it starts with us four, where 2 times a year we meet and we discuss business and the business plan, where we're going, set the targets and what we need to do to get there. We delegate each of our four departments of who's doing what, and then we each have direct reports of who's reporting to each of us. 2 times a week we meet up late nights to say, okay, where are we not right now? And each of us four talk about their team of where they are and what's missing. And maybe we thought about a certain thing in the business plan, but now it's not going that way. So we could say if it's time to pivot, and then it gets regulated there in that meeting because we know that person, it's a business owner. He's going to talk to his team and make sure it gets regulated.
Right.
Right.
You got to be in the weeds.
Yeah.
Still, like I would say, like definitely like removing that control, and you need to have the right player or the right hand or the right person that reports to you, or that you can take some stuff off your plate. But it still means you got to kind of be in the weeds. So that
Right.
control feeling doesn't mean you're playing golf or on vacation 6 months out of the year.
No, no.
And I know
course.
that
Yeah.
that's not just what I'm. But a business owner, a lot of times people think, oh, I'm a business owner, I don't have to work. It's you're working 100 times more.
You work
right,
more.
because you have more on your plate now. So, but you know what? So you have to be in the weeds also, meaning meet with that direct report, give that direct report what they deserve, and see how you can help mold them into being a better version of them, because you know the way to do the job, because it's your business.
That is the responsibility of the business owner at the end of the day, because employees are there. At the end of the day, yes, they're going to be a facet to your company. Yes, they're getting paid as well. But, at the end of the day, it is our job as business owners to be able to portray that mindset also, and to give them that motivation to take it, and really to tell them that they're a part of that family too.
For sure. And you can't expect an employee to work harder than you,
No,
right? So a lot of people think, oh, I have this employee, I'm paying them well, they should be doing even more than I do.
no,
No, that's not the
No.
right mindset.
At first, like we thought about it as a family, but it's not a family. Like it's more of a sports team because people get cut. And
Yeah.
we know, like we make it very clear, is we're here to win games, and everybody needs to work together. If there's one player on the team that's not pulling their weight, it affects everybody, and that's not fair.
Yeah,
So it's a family. You can't cut a family.
no,
You could cut a sports team member, right? Like we're all here to perform, and everybody could advance and get bigger roles. Mixed with the vision of where we're going, it makes it motivating because we're together 40 hours a week.
right.
Let's have fun doing it, but don't slack.
With your
Take it
employees, but you
seriously.
guys are probably just
You know?
just like me, probably doing 70, 80-hour weeks, right? Like at the
Exactly.
end of the day,
Yeah.
as business owners, you don't have much of a choice, right?
I had well, just personally, just recently it happened to me. I had my twins, and 2 weeks later back, and it was the holidays.
Yeah.
Right. It's our playoffs. So
Yeah.
it's working 6-7 days a week and not sleeping. It was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough, but like I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And yes, I would want to, like, everything was under control at home, but it's like now we got to this point, and my wife is very understanding. Like, we're here now. So it's our
Yes.
second or third big season. If we're not there, all of us, something can slip, and if something slips, it could be reputational damage. And we don't need that right now. We don't need that ever.
No.
But not in the building stages, you never need that.
You never need that.
We're super, super like dedicated to the well-being of the brand as a spirit, as a unit, as a whole.
But at the end of the day, no matter what, our families are a part of that too.
For sure.
And I feel like you just touched on it. Like our wives, it's so instrumental that to have their support when you're doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Because even for me, I have late nights, weekends, you know what I mean? Sometimes I'm here at the office till 11. I get back home, I'm still up till 1 or 2 a.m. You know, you have negotiations, you have, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And if you don't have that support, if they're not understanding of that too, at the end of the day, it's their business just as much as it is yours.
100%.
Right? They're right there with you.
Yeah, because they're handling what's happening at home,
Exactly.
and all the crying and the fussiness and the this and the that and the homework, and
Yeah.
without them, you wouldn't be able to have that family the way it is.
No.
Right? They need that, right? But I think it's very
Yeah, and
it's
look,
not
they're
looked upon.
doing,
Yeah.
everyone's kind of doing their own thing. They're
Yeah.
doing their own work. They're doing, you know what I mean? And then balancing that. Sometimes, like, maybe even sometimes we forget, like, we're doing our thing and they're home and then we're trying to, like, say, okay, like, how can I finish? And I'm like, okay, well, you know, let me just finish these couple of negotiations. And one thing leads to another. You think you're going to leave at 6, you end up leaving at 9. And it's
Yeah.
just like things kind of take a toll. There are so many unexpected things that come up too.
Exactly.
Right? And I can imagine that for you guys too, because you guys kind of grew up together, right? Like all four of you. So like I guess everyone is like a family. What is that like? What's the playtime like for you guys in terms of? I know there's very little playtime always in business, but you know, like when you actually take an hour for yourselves or 2 hours for yourselves, what is it that you four do? Is it you four get together? Do you get all the family together? Like what is that
Yeah.
like?
Honestly, right now, just because it's so busy, like our relationship is work. Like we see each other a lot.
Yeah.
So outside of the office, we spend time with our family.
Yeah, so if you have, but it's important, right? Because if you have that day, you need when we're with our families, we're super focused on being with our
Right.
families, right? So it's and we talk about it. It's something that's important to all the four of us, right?
Yeah.
Being cut from the same cloth, it's important. We are, and when we're
No
not,
pun intended.
no pun, exactly. So we do that. We make sure that we
Yeah.
stay super focused on that. But yeah, like we're together a
We're
lot.
going to Sri Lanka, Vietnam, and China next month.
Oh wow.
So we're gonna be 10 days together, and we're gonna find some time, you know, to go for suppers together, and we explore. Right, it's beautiful to explore the world like that. Last year, went to visit our factory in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, in parallel to like
And,
building your business,
and
yeah,
learning
what better way?
and learning more, right?
And we videoed it all, so it's all on YouTube. Like our
Oh, did you?
our
Yeah.
factory visit, and the factory owners were freaking
Where's
out
the
because
factory?
in Sri Lanka, and
Okay,
it's in
okay.
Colombo, the capital, RAP certified. So it's all about like treating the employees right, paying insurance, free
Medical.
meals, medical. Like we wanted to go in there and really see how it was.
You wanted to see for yourself.
Yeah.
See for ourselves, and we videographed everything, and they were like, no one has ever done this before.
Yeah.
Like cameras rolling, we're making
Like,
content.
You're the exception to the rule.
I sat down with we all sat down with them, but
Yeah.
I ended up having a meal with one of them at lunchtime, an employee, and I had a talk with them. We were mic'd up. I had a talk with them, and it shows that there's real people, you know.
Yes.
And a lot of the times it's like, oh, you know, those underdeveloped countries, yes, but they're not that like it's like looks like Facebook where they are. They get the travel to and from work, fed, medical center every day. And they told us we love working here, and to the point where it's like where I live, it's so rural that the only like this is like a place where I can come and work, and they treat me so well, and I have customers like you that come here, and it's like I never thought in a million years that this would be an opportunity that I would have. So that kind of makes you feel good,
Yes.
right? And that kind of it makes you feel really good, and then like
And we could have got it, like we could have got the product done way cheaper elsewhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
way cheaper.
But
Yeah.
we said,
But you know what? There's a human factor to that too.
Yeah.
And I feel, look, this is just a part of, you know, my beliefs and my principles. I'm sure yours too. You know, when you're doing anything in life, you want to make sure that whatever you're building comes from a good place.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Right. That it's creating good in the world.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want it quote unquote tainted in any
No.
way, right? And so that's great that you guys went there because a lot of people might not care and really just care about the profitability
Yeah.
of the business
And-
more than anything.
But there's a lot of thinking, like there's a lot of that in our industry, right? And it's like it's not something we ever wanted to, experience, or it was from the get-go we knew we wanted to work with an ethically sustainable manufacturer. So it's important to us for sure.
the get-go was actually getting it done in Canada.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
You'd be surprised
Yeah.
how many doors we got shut. People were like, "No, your volume's not enough. I'm booked until like 8 months from now."
Laughing
And
at
they
us.
didn't wanna. They didn't even want to give us a chance,
Seriously?
right? So like, we get asked from customers, "Why can't you make it in Canada?" We really really wanted to, and they just didn't give us an opportunity.
And then when we had the opportunity, let's say when there was like a bit of a smidget,
Yeah.
then we did the economics of it, and we would have to sell the product for $60.
Which would have priced us out of the market right away on top of it, right? Like,
so it didn't make any sense.
You know, it's funny. I have a lot of my clients who own businesses. A lot of my associates, friends, all of them are kind of in the entrepreneurship world. And what you discuss is interesting to parallel with the fact that I feel, especially in Montreal. Now, you guys are going to tell me if you agree or not. But the mindset with regards to entrepreneurship is extremely different, right? When you're trying to do anything, you get shut down. No one is really trying to explore the possibility of what this could become necessarily, as much as, for instance, some of my friends have gone to Silicon Valley and everything. They tell me just the way that they deal with you is so different than when you're over here. I mean, they're talking about Quebec specifically, right? But I mean, I guess elsewhere in Canada would be the same thing, where everybody is just so reluctant to do anything. And then it's like, okay, well, no, we're like too busy for you, move on. And
you're
then
gonna
it comes
fail.
down,
Yeah.
you're going to fail, it's not going to work out. No one is here to kind of give you a stepping stone as to, okay, well, what to do or how can we scale this in a way that's going to be better for you. First of all, to contribute to the Canadian economy
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
right? And second, well, to allow another business to thrive. And I feel like that mindset of allowing other people to flourish does not exist as much as over here. I don't know if you guys have felt this as well.
For sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
We talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but comes with the. I think it comes with mentality,
Yeah.
right? It's a mentality. It's a little bit political, which
Yeah.
we decided to stay away from that. But at the same time, I would say like there are being in banking.
Yeah.
Okay, so as much as that's the case, and the way that the media paints certain things and has people believing, and and belief becomes the truth, right? Perception's 100% reality, right? That's my favorite quote line. I have met many like yourself, like-minded people, right? That are entrepreneurial, that push hard, that are savage, quote unquote. That do what it takes to win and contributes to the economy, because we know that companies, businesses contribute greatly to the economy. So in my opinion, to anybody watching or listening, if you're in Quebec, don't see it as Quebec, I'm here, disadvantaged. If you're remotely a savage, like if you have a bit of like savagery in you, and you can persevere towards like and push towards all the closed doors and the roadblocks, you'll kill it. Where in a place where you mentioned before, there's a lot of guys. More competition equals, in my opinion, harder. Right? Where here,
it's so true what you're saying. And that's one of the things I tell people too, is like, yes, like we have our challenges here too. I wanted to hear, like, on your perspective too, as a business that is in the product industry. I'm in the service industry, right? Like it's different in a sense in terms of how it functions. In some regards the same, in some regards no. But I mean, you have different challenges. So when you're trying to do something that's kind of in-house, or trying to like contribute or whatever, then you have certain challenges that come with it. But to your point, if the competition is not as fierce, it almost allows for you to do more. And that savagery that you speak of is super important. That mindset is extremely important. I was discussing this morning with somebody where they were like really down, and I'm like, what's wrong with you? And they're like, like one of my employees, he's like really like depressed in the corner, and for X, Y, and Z reasons. And I told him, I said, you can't allow this to infect you. It's the word I used, right? And it's
like a cancer.
It really is. And at the end of the day, what you're doing is important. How you're going to manipulate, maybe that's not the right word, but go about your everyday, how you're going to think about it, what you're going to proceed with it is extremely important. And yeah, the challenges are here to be overcome. And the competition, if it's not as fierce, it's your responsibility to really step up your game that much more. And sometimes people don't actually understand what real competition means.
Exactly.
Right?
Real competition.
Real competition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
100%, man.
Yeah.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
And to add to that, I would say like that's the importance of having partners, right? Like being a business owner alone is really hard because you're battling with your own brain, your own thoughts.
Yeah.
when you have a partner like-minded, you could kind of bring each other up.
Sounding board, like
Push
push each other.
Yes,
If he's
right.
having a bad day, I got your back. If I'm having a bad day, I got
It's
your
also
back.
'cause you
Even
know
without,
each other.
Yeah.
even without saying it, just doing it. You know, we've been through some dark
Helps.
times personally. Let's
That
say,
helps.
and it helps, right?
Yeah,
Because you're human at the end of the day.
100%.
Everybody goes through shit.
Everybody goes through shit, and I had mentioned this too. You know, I had said recently, like the last couple of years, people have been saying real estate has been so amazing for you guys. You guys are so lucky.
Yeah, here we
I
go.
hate it when people say
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Like I hate it.
yeah.
I'm like, you guys have no idea,
They're probably not in real estate.
right? They're not in real estate. You have no idea what it took to be in real estate over the pandemic,
For sure.
right? And I'm not saying this to say I'm all high and mighty, no, but it's that the the grass looks very green on this side. Where it's like, oh well, these agents are making a lot of money doing nothing. No, the amount of time that had to be put, sacrifice, the long hours, the refused offers, the 30 offers to handle, the guiding your clients, having to overcome all of that at the same time
Yeah.
is a huge challenge people cannot actually begin to comprehend, where your decision making impacts everybody around you, buyers, sellers, your family, all your clients, right? All of that is not a time I ever want to go back to. So people say, oh, well, you made more money. I had to hire more people. I had to manage all of that more. And at the end of the day, to maintain the quality of the work, because for me that's at the forefront of it, took everything out of me. So you get back home and you're finished.
Yeah, for sure.
And then during those 2-3 years, my kids grew up.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, a big challenge for entrepreneurs and for people to understand, when you're really doing something of this scale, you're sacrificing your time with your children a lot. And I'd be lying to you if I told you that didn't happen. It happened, right? I wasn't as present as I wanted to be. And I try my best really to do it now with their hockey games, with everything. I'm really like, I make it a point to be there.
Yeah.
But, the challenges come up. This week I'm negotiating 6 offers at the same time. And it's like, okay, I'm kind of being pulled left, right, and center. And my kid's like, Dad, you're going to come to my game. I can't say no. And at the same time, my client has entrusted me with something. I also cannot impact them in any shape, way, or form. So I have to make sure that if I'm going to go there, I got to make sure that my clients' things are set. So that late nights, because of that.
Yeah.
Right? Those are sacrifices that come up. Now, you guys might have different challenges, but I'm saying that it's impactful in our families as well. And your mindset has to be really intact, and you can't allow it to get infected, was the word that I used.
Just to echo that, like, I mean, yeah, for sure, you have to sacrifice, you cut where it needs to be cut. But I'd like to think, and I've only been a dad for a couple months, but obviously if you're building something great, there's something to be proud about.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's something to be proud about. And I think there's going to come a day where your kids are going to be like, wow, Dad,
I believe that.
right?
I believe that.
And you're building legacy, you're protecting and you're providing.
I
right?
believe that.
So,
Right.
as a man,
I do feel that, right? And we had echoed on this, I mean, last week, and I don't even want to get controversial in the least, but we're man-made here, so
we're not woke. I'll say it. No
So,
bullshit.
no bullshit, right? Like, I feel like that's one of the big challenges that we have. And, I've got 2 boys, and, I have these discussions with people sometimes to say, listen, I'm all for girl power. I'm all for all of this. I'm actually a feminist. I think I'm a true feminist.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
But the reality is that when you're trying to navigate this world of, okay, no, like our girls are not proceeding the way they should, or they're not given the same opportunities. I don't think that's the case today. And what's happening oftentimes right now is they are almost, in lack of a better word, emasculating boys.
Yeah.
Right? And consequence of that,
Yeah.
they're sensitizing boys.
Yeah.
I mean, you can keep men masculine without it being toxic masculinity.
Yeah, for sure.
Suddenly, right now, being masculine is toxic masculinity.
Yeah, I hate that. We don't like that either.
Right.
I mean, we could just talk personally, right?
Yeah.
Like in our relationships with our wives, like we're there to provide, right? And they expect us to come home and make sure things are done. Like that's just how it is in our household, right?
Yeah.
And we each have our roles to get it done and make sure that the family advances and we're happy.
Right. And I think the traditional sense of things is plays a huge role. You know, the father being the father, the mother being the mother, and in their sense, doesn't mean that one can't work or that women shouldn't
No.
work or anything like that. I think the opportunities exist. I think that balancing that in these days is actually becoming more difficult. But I think for boys especially,
Yeah.
I think if you have boys, as a father of boys, trying to teach them that masculinity
Is good.
in this, it's good and it's challenging in this world
It
right
is.
now.
It is, but you know, like the way we treat our wives. So as a man, let's say the way you treat your wife, your boys will see.
Yes.
Right. So this is some way you can bring in that masculinity, but you respect the woman.
Yes.
Right. And then there's other things like he has two daughters. You know, he treats his daughters like real gold.
Yes.
Right. So that's important. The way you raise your boys, the way I'm going to raise my boys, I
Yes.
want them to respect women.
100%.
Right. Not treat them like, you know. So these are little things as men with masculinity,
Yeah.
with a traditional mindset, I think can bring value to today's day and age. Once again, you know, if you're half, what was the word? I use savage. What was the word you used? Fierce?
Fierce.
Yeah, if you're fierce,
Yeah.
you can definitely, it doesn't mean being fierce doesn't have emotions or feelings but at the
No.
same time, you in business, you kind of have to put those in check, right?
100%.
In order for you to execute. And I'm someone who's highly emotional.
Yes.
Right. So I worked on that and continue to work on that and do things to continue to work on that. You have anything else to add there?
No, pretty good.
How emotional are you?
Yeah. Like people
Yeah.
tell you.
Yeah. I look, I'm very emotional too, and sometimes it kind of takes its toll. I've worked on it as well, right? Reactive is what happens when people are emotional. They're reactive,
Yeah.
and so I've worked on that too, right? Not to be, so knee jerk with things, obviously, but at the same time, the passion comes with it,
Exactly. You took the words out of my mouth.
right? Yeah.
It's also your gift.
That's what we learned with us four, because we're so different. We're like, we all have qualities we like about each other. If we didn't, we wouldn't be in business together,
No.
right? So if you're gonna accept the qualities, you have to accept the shortfallings, right? And you might see it as a shortfalling, but maybe their shortfalling is the reason why they have that quality,
Yeah.
right? So it comes as a package.
Gotta take and you gotta give.
Yeah.
Like I meant,
There's no secret. There's no secret.
It's exactly that.
Many
Yeah.
times people think, "What's the secret? What's the secret?" Just be real, right? Just be you and do good. Always think think that you're going to be doing good. When you
Right.
do something, do it the first time.
Do it well.
Yeah.
Do it 100%.
Yeah.
You know what? People know this about me. I'm all or nothing. People are like, why are you so extreme with everything
Yeah.
that you do? Because I feel like if you're going to do something, you do it perfectly or don't do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Agreed.
I don't believe in half-assing anything,
Yeah.
right? I'd rather not do it. And this podcast was one of them, right?
But you got a beautiful setup. By the way.
Yeah,
thank
but,
you.
but I
Thank
want to
you.
echo that because people watching are probably entrepreneurs or want to be entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And what I learned in this experience is that sometimes you don't have all the capital in the world being perfect doesn't mean spending money necessarily.
No.
Right? So, for example, for us, we didn't have the funds to hire models and this and that and do the big production and do what we do, example, today. And even at that, we're pretty frugal. But we decided to put that effort and that passion and that perfection in the product that we created, the marketing. We at first it was with our iPhones.
Yeah.
Right now we have the cameras, but before it was the iPhone. We used to edit them the best we could edit them. Like we wouldn't go to bed till it's perfect, but we did it ourselves.
Yes.
Right, and people see that too.
Yes.
Right, rather than like you said, there's people that want to bite more than they can chew at the beginning of everything and not
Yeah.
focus in. I think that's extremely important. So their dollar in entrepreneurship needs to extend far
100%.
and
You
wide.
have to know what you're spending too.
Yeah.
To your point, it's not just about the dollars. It's about being resourceful.
Yeah.
Because you could be resourceful and not necessarily have to spend a lot of money.
Exactly.
Right? I've dealt with different companies. I've spoken to different companies. Some people use leverage for this, right? But even the leverage that you're using needs to make sense. Leverage, I have no problems with leverage as long as the leverage is actually there to bring you something more.
Value, yeah.
So you need to be very decisive and you need to be extremely efficient and intelligent with what you're spending. And know, okay, you know what, and have a plan in place to say, if I'm spending $100,000, well, the return needs to be X amount for it to make sense. And it's going to bring me this, and this.
Yeah.
You have to have a timeline for that return,
Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
right? So resourcefulness is extremely important, maybe more than money itself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then yeah, sometimes when you want to scale even further, well, there is money that comes into play. Now, some people might leverage that, give out shares, whatever the case is. I see this a lot in the commercial world, by the way, right? In commercial real estate, this happens a lot. There's all these exchanges. Sometimes you have to. I mean, the capital is so much at in one shot sometimes, and the risks are existent as well. So you may need to leverage certain things. And look, people make a decision based on their experiences with companies, successful companies such as yourselves, to know, okay, well, based on the patterns that these guys are going at, we know based on XYZ company who did something similar, but these guys seem to actually do it better, that my risk is calculated, right? I think that's going to be the edge that you're going to need to use in anything,
Yeah.
right?
Agreed.
Guys,
Agreed.
it was a real pleasure having you.
It was amazing. It passed so quickly.
Yeah, it did,
Yeah.
right? It did. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for your gift, MANMADE for all men, right? Maybe one day, I don't know if you want to branch into the women's products. I know that people have been asking you
Yeah.
though.
People have been asking us, but probably not.
Yeah, we're MANMADE.
Stay focused.
All right. So episode 6 is a wrap.